You are listening to Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. I'm your host, Shanel Scott. I'm a psychic medium and energy healer who has been supporting those on a spiritual journey for over a decade. I'm your tour guide into the world of the unknown, showing you that the magic of the universe is at your fingertips. I believe spirituality is simple and fun, and this podcast will make it easily accessible, giving you the real talk on all things divine and spiritual, helping you to step into the flow, manifesting your dreams because we all deserve to be living our best life. Are you ready for an adventure? Hello, sunshines, and welcome to a new episode of Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. Welcome, my name is Shanel, and I am your host and your spiritual tour guide, ready to take you on a spiritual journey today. Today's topic, I want to talk about being present and just being. This has come up a lot lately, and I feel like people are kind of questioning what this means, what this entails. And it's funny because the weekly channeled message this week really spoke to this as well, being grounded and present. So why is this important? Being grounded and present is incredibly important to actually being able to observe. When we are in a place of worry, we are stuck in our past or our future. When we are spinning, we are outside of our body and we are in our head and we are missing things that are going around us because we are so busy spinning in our head. And often we're also missing the things that people are saying. We're not listening to the messages. We are just allowing them to float over. And that's written messages too. When we are distracted, we're missing some of the simple things that are the messages we need to move us in the direction that we need to go. When we are in a place of being, we release stress and worry. We release that monkey mind. We release the need to know because we trust. And it's this incredible place to be, in this place of being. Again, being feels even deeper than grounded and connected. It is like the ultimate of grounded and connected. In this place of being, we actually see the things that we need to see. Things come into our energy field and open awareness because we are prepared and ready to see them. We are able to notice the subtleties that are coming through that are, there to guide us in the right direction. If we're not paying attention, we might miss something really simple as a one-liner or the fine print in a document or, the message that was coming through, but we're death scrolling our social media and miss that message. We are a society that likes to be distracted. We carry computers in our pocket each and every day. We want instant gratification, and we want to be distracted from the things that are uncomfortable. We're a society that now books, C-sections, cosmetic C-sections, because we don't want to give birth and we don't want to deal with labor. But, it's crazy to think of that. When I hear somebody say that, I'm like, what? You're missing it on all the good parts. We want to, and sorry, to diverge even further, we are a society that deals with a lot of addiction problems, whether that's drugs or alcohol or sex or social media or, food. That is all about cramming down the feelings. It is about not experiencing, but instead diluting so that we don't have to feel. It is wild, the world that we live in. And it's always so incredibly interesting, the number of people that don't want to be present in what they need to do for healing. It's in the So I did a big channel on Saturday, and it was interesting because part of the thing that came through was this piece of like a deeper healing, that people are willing to have physical pain rather than deal with their emotional pain. Isn't that interesting? Again, just this big message of, are we willing to deal with our physical pain over our mental pain? But the reality is the mental pain is temporary. Often we avoid and we push down so that we don't have to feel, and ultimately it drags it out, versus if we actually dealt with it in the moment, whether that's with ourselves, with the person that we need to deal with, or with a mental health professional. I am a huge advocate of mental health professionals, as you all know. Then it is about really, dealing with the situation and clearing it so that we can just move forward. Because wouldn't moving forward feel so much better than actually having to relive the pain over and over again of a trauma? And I totally recognize we all have our different capacities for this, right? There's for those that have got deep trauma, clearly it's going to be a lot harder to face it. But in facing it, we start to clear it and to deal with it. And there is a lot of supports that can be put into place to get you through that thing. I feel like I've just gone off on a major tangent, but I feel like it was really important to discuss. I feel like it was really important to acknowledge this piece that as a society, we often choose not to deal with our mental health in its fullest because it is easier than dealing with the pain of the trauma, the situation, the mental strife that we are going through. And I think we've all been in this place where we just want it to go away. But isn't it so much more empowering to have tools and support and control to be able to deal with the thing and be free of it before it turns into a physical ailment? And I see this a lot in my work, that the things that we don't acknowledge and contend with turn into physical problems. And it might be something just, simple, like we're holding on to a little extra weight for padding or cushioning for the world that we live in, to actual physical pain or broken bones that end up happening because we've held something for so long. When I looked up what appendix represents, when I had an appendicitis, and it said that our appendix is a representation of our fears, I was like, oh, thank God they just cut fear right out of my body. And it was a huge lesson in the fact that I had been holding on to fear for so long. I had been living in fear for so incredibly long. It is empowering to heal. Now, the other side of that, because this part is important, hence the tangent, right? Hence the tangent. It's really important to be present and feel. And if we have trauma that we're trying to push down and ignore or, distract, then we're not being present. We're being distracted in every way possible to not feel the feels. And what we're being asked to do in 2024 is very much feel the feels. It's about being present in the energy or the emotion or the feelings and going, what is this bringing up for me? And why? Or how am I going to deal with this? Fear or anxiety is simply the body's way of saying, hey, something's going on here. Do you want to acknowledge this? Are we unsafe? Do we need to change our trajectory? Or do we need to reach out for support? It's not a bad thing. It is simply our body talking to us. And if we can acknowledge it for that instead of feeding the fears, feeding the anxiety, it shifts. It shifts and changes. When we are truly present, grounded and connected, we can bear witness to these feelings and emotions and act on them instead of spiraling into them. I am incredibly grateful for my lifelines and for being a lifeline. I am incredibly grateful for those in my life that say, "How are you feeling?" Or "How does that feel for you?" Or "What does that bring up for you?" Because that's loving and caring. That's somebody saying, "I care so much about you that I want to know." And I appreciate that. And I hope that I do that for other people too. The other side of this, because we're getting there, I promise. I know I've said this 3 times, right? So the other side of this is in that place of grounded presence, when we are present and aware, when we are in a state of being, we're taking it all in. It allows us to be present to what is being shown to us. The other day, and this happens all the time to me because I feel like it happened again just recently, yesterday or the day before, where I was like present and I saw the hummingbird. I was someplace and feeling stressed out a bit, and all of a sudden looked up and there was the kids drawing coloring page that was a hummingbird, and it was like, oh yeah, I have support. I have guidance on the other side, and they're watching out for me. But sometimes it's the messages. You hear something and it hits and it lands because we actually heard it. We actually listened to it. And it landed so that we could actually go, oh, that resonates. Or, oh, that prompted an idea. Or, oh, I see the opportunity. When we are really present and connected, those things just show up with such ease, like everywhere. Versus when we're stuck in our head and we're frustrated and struggling along, we don't see those things. We miss them because we're too distracted. The universe is always here and willing to share, to validate, to send messages, like all of it. When we are open and when we are in a place of presence, in a place of being, we are more open to that. And when we are in a place of being, we're not stressing and we're not worrying and it's not that we're detached. We're just not feeding all the BS. We're not feeding the drama. We're not fueling the parts that we don't want to fuel. We're fueling the parts of ourselves that feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is not selfish. That is not unemotional. In fact, I feel like when we're in a place of being and present, we are so much more emotional because we are so much more connected to the people we are communicating with, to the experiences that we are having. This weekend, a girlfriend had a house showing, so she needed out, and we went for a walk and had tea, and I spent hours together ultimately because we were just so present with each other. Neither of us really took out our phones. We didn't get a picture of anything. We were just present with each other and really sharing and communicating and talking. And it was so beautiful. And, after the fact, I go, oh, I had nothing to post on social media today. But it was because I was being present. I didn't feel the need to pick up my phone and take a picture or share a message because I just needed to be present in the being and in the awareness and the connection. And I'm finding that more and more, that I'm just present in the experience instead of needing to document it. So just a caveat there. Grounding feels different. It feels much lighter than it used to. Jump on Insight Timer. I have a meditation that helps you understand the energy of the grounding right now, because it does feel a lot different. So check that out. So how does grounding feel for you? What does connection feel for you? And what does being mean for you? I personally struggle to put words around being, but the feeling of it is incredible. And I hope it's something that you can really find, because it's empowering and it's freedom and it's wonderful. So again, I invite you to find this place of grounded presence, to find this place of being in this next little while, to help you move through the spiritual energies that we are, feels like we are bumping up against lately, because that's the way that it feels. It feels like it's bumping. The channeled message was titled Turbulence Continues. And I think that was quite appropriate for this week. So you can go check that out. The channeled messages can be found on my socials. The weekly one can be found on YouTube as well. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. I always am so appreciative. So if you can do me an energy exchange, if you can follow this podcast, if you can leave a review, or follow me on socials, I would really appreciate it. It really helps me, and it costs you nothing at all but a little bit of energy. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here on my journey and allowing me to be your spiritual tour guide today. Thanks so much, from my heart and soul to yours. Until the next time. Bye now.